folks. Welcome back to another episode.
We are back, baby.
Another episode of Full Fletch Podcast
Full
with your hosts,
black.
Justin Mulvaney and Brooks Benson. Brooks, say hello to the people.
Hello, everyone. It is great
What's
talking
up?
to you today.
What's your Brooks?
I get a new hat.
Yeah. Okay.
Bear Creek Archery.
Nice. I like the logo. When did you
See,
get it?
Saturday.
Saturday.
Because I
We'll get to
went
that,
to
huh?
Bear Creek. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll get to that. It's going to be the big story at the end of the episode. So
Yeah,
little
we'll get to it. Stay tuned.
stay tuned. Little cliffhanger for the remainder of the episode. Stay tuned to why Brooks has Bear Creek Archery hat.
If you're watching the video version, I'm just going to show you this.
Oh, little incentive. Bring over the listeners to the viewing side. Incentive. All right. Awesome. I love it. I love it. So, Brooks, it's been like close to a week since we've chatted. I had family in town Thursday night through last night. We were gonna pod last night, and then it was just like we were like balls to the wall going the whole time my family was here. So it was like dropped them off at the airport. Wife and I came home and we're like, I'm exhausted. So I texted you guys. I'm like, I can't do it. I'm sorry.
Which is fine. It worked out.
Little weakness on my part. I should have persevered.
Oh, it's okay. You guys were busy, it sounded like, so you gotta... Sounds like you were exhausted, so it probably wouldn't have been a good episode anyway.
I would have let, because Tanner was supposed to be on it, so it would have been a good like Tanner and Brooks takeover episode, and I
Yeah.
just sit there and intervene, but
Yeah.
keep you guys from going at each other's throats because that's how you guys are, obviously.
We just go at each other's throats all the time, no matter what.
No, it was a good weekend, and so now we're recording a day later than we had planned, but it's all good. It's all good. But yeah, we haven't talked in a while. You did some things last week, like midweek, that I'd love to talk about. You went fishing.
Yep. With a little last second ice fishing episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, we went to Chatfield Reservoir. For those of you who don't know where Chatfield is, it's here in the metro area of Denver. And it was that night, I want to say it was about -1 degrees. And so Chatfield is very, in the wintertime, it's very on and off when it comes to ice. Like we had a big cold front come in, and so it definitely froze the lake enough, about 4 inches, which is safe ice, safe fish. I don't prefer it, but we tried to fish Chatfield. Honestly, it was my buddy Aaron and I. Honestly, we've never fished Chatfield before.
Not even like summertime.
No.
Gotcha.
At least I haven't. Maybe Aaron has a couple times, but we were just trying to see where was safe to go, and we were just hoping for the best. We only went for 2 hours.
Yeah.
So, because I got off work at 3, and then we just pretty much put our stuff in the truck and just head straight there. The nice part about Chatfield, it's only about 30 minutes from our house.
That's
our
good.
house is. So that's really nice. See, I think we had a couple fish on screen. Aaron missed one hook set. That was about it. Honestly, like, I don't think I'll ever do Chatfield like that ever again, unless I know for sure it's more than 6 inches. That was sketch. And I sketched, like, legit, I thought I was about to fall through the ice. Because we were sitting at our depth on the sonar, we were sitting at about 24 feet. And it's just, I mean, that's deep enough for sure. And I was standing, like, you could just hear the ice crack below us, but like we knew it was like the ice was freezing because it was -1 degree. So like,
Yeah.
It wasn't gonna melt on us.
They were good pops, not bad pops.
Good pops, not bad pops. But there was an instance I heard a bad pop, and it was, I was like, oh gosh, like where I was standing, and I like jumped. Aaron's like, you freaked out me more than the ice did. Yeah, so I think after that we stayed there for another, I don't know, 30 minutes, and we're just like, yeah, screw this, we're done.
Yeah, over it.
There was a couple folks out there. They were way out there, so I'm assuming that ice out there was probably 6+. Now I could be wrong. I was looking at on the Chatfield page, and there were some spots that did have 8 inch ice. I wish we'd have would have known that beforehand. Yeah, because that was oof. We were
Yeah,
definitely in a sketchy spot, and yeah, I'm just happy we just came out alive and
yeah,
didn't
no kidding.
fall through.
No kidding. Well, not trying to be a downer on the episode, but my parents were in town and they're from Wyoming, or they live there now, and right there off of Glendo, and so they fish there a lot. And there was just a ice fishing tournament a couple weeks ago. My dad helped host and yada yada. Well, this past weekend, they got, I don't know if they were on Facebook or they got a text from somebody, but somebody drove a side by side out onto the lake, which this time of year, that's not unheard of. A lot
Mhm.
of people take their side by sides or, snowmobiles, four wheelers, yada yada. Well, side by side went out, and I don't know if somebody saw them go down or what, but they went through,
Mm,
and they never came. Nobody came up. Obviously, side by side didn't come up. So, long story short, they couldn't find them that day. It's water and ice and weather wasn't safe enough for search crew to go out. They went out the next day, found them. Obviously, nobody survived. So, super
right.
sad, but yeah, it's just
That's
like, and the rest of the lake is like a foot thick of ice, and like the whole way that they drove out there, it was like thick, 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 and then out of nowhere, just thin enough, side by side broke through.
jeez.
And I guess for people that like would know the lake, you kind of know that area is where there's a big ridge that happens almost every year. And that's just where the ridge meets, and because of that, it gets thin in some spots and really thick in others, and you just don't know where that thin spot is. It sounded like they were just kind of gunning it, and they just gunned it in the wrong spot, wrong spot. So, but
That's
that place, yeah, ice fishing can be scary, but also really fun. I mean, when you know that it's thick ice and it's safe, like it can be one of the most fun things to ever do. But
seriously,
when
yeah.
you don't know, it's a scary thing.
Yeah, it's very. And like when we were at Turquoise, I think we were, I want to say it was about 16 inches worth of ice. So we were
Hmm.
fine.
Hmm.
And the nice there's only a few lakes you can actually take your mostly people take their snowmobiles out. Turquoise is one of them where a lot of people take their snowmobile. Granby, it's kind of funny. Granby, you actually have to be kind of careful because it doesn't really fully ice over till January, like late like probably January or early January. It doesn't, but even then it's like a lot of guys take their snowmobiles on Granby, but I think they make sure it's like 10 plus inches before they even do it.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's just you don't know you sometimes you just don't know where those pressure zones are, and
right.
it's scary.
Yeah.
You just got to be careful. You got to for sure be sure like the ice is like 4 inches. That's I mean I don't think I'll ever go on 4 inches of ice ever again. Like no, I'm good. Like
My dad has stories of they would go out on ice. He would be able to tell you the number, but not safe ice. And they would take trucks, like trucks or pickup trucks. I should clarify, pickup trucks out onto the ice, and they'd just be sitting in their truck bed fishing out of the truck bed or whatever with a keg of beer and 4 to 6 people out on ice that was not 16 inches. Like it was like a few inches, and it's like, how the hell did you guys survive? Nobody knows.
lucky.
We've had people that we know, like really, really close with, like family friends, have gone through the ice up at Glendo, and they've fished there their whole lives, ice fishing, summer, like open water, ice. They know the lake and they know what places are best in the ice and not, and they've still fallen through. Like you just never know.
Yeah,
Obviously, like all of the people that we know have survived or whatever.
that's good.
And I guess tip to the people that have never ice fished, really, really advise not going by yourself the first handful of times. Like, if you don't know what you're doing at all, don't go by yourself because there's a lot of oddities that you need to learn about
Yep.
before you just kind of dive head in on it. Or make
Yeah.
sure you totally educate yourself because there's dangers outside of it that you just don't even think about, and all of a sudden you fall in, and and then you have to learn how to survive if you fall in. That's just a whole other thing. But I went through once, but not deep like that. So we would take four wheelers out because the ice up there would get really thick, and so there wasn't really much concern growing up. And so yeah, we take four-wheelers and we go. Uh, the time I went through, we were coming in. It was a warmer day. We got all the way basically to shore, and like from like 10 feet out from shore, it was really, really like it was just watered over, and
Hmm.
ice was like an inch if that. So it was like even walking on it, it would break. And so they decided, well, the best way to do it is like we had like three kids in a sled, and instead of like having the kids walk across because we didn't have waders or anything, they were like, all right, let's like load the kids into the sled. Now, we don't have any justification now as to why this was the best thought process, but this is what the adults came up with. There's like three kids in the sled, and they like one person on the four-wheeler, and it's like, all right, we're gonna just gun it and get the kids across and go. Four-wheeler goes through, sled goes in, four-wheeler can't get out, like it didn't go nearly to plan. Four-wheeler like doesn't make it out of the water fast to drag the sled through, and then we end up sled like tips over, and we're all in like 4 foot of water, just like at the time, kid, like that's up to like your chest. And so
Right.
we
Yeah.
basically went in, but we were right at the shore, so it wasn't like, oh my God, we're in 20 foot of water and whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, talk about cold water, dude. That is, yeah. So it was like me and like two other kids, and it was like shit. Because I mean, yeah, you're right by the trucks, but you can still get hypothermia whether or not where, and it doesn't matter where you're at, how close you are. And so it's like, oh shit, delayer. We've got some spare clothes somewhere here, here, there, everywhere. And obviously turned out okay, but maybe a little messed up in the head. But yeah, so that's my going through the ice story. Not nearly as dramatic as others, but that water is
Well,
cold.
yeah. I mean, if I ever decide to go like on 4 inches of ice ever again, I'd probably buy one of those floating suits that you can get, just so I know, like, okay, I'll be fine
Yeah.
if some
We went
for
out and
some
bought
reason.
those like they go over, I don't know, it looks like a life jacket, but it's like really thin, and it's like CO2 canister or whatever. It inflates when it hits water. Like
Okay, that's
it
cool.
goes off, and so it puffs up. So it's really like concealed and not bulky or anything. It's not in the way. Like you can stand there and fish with it all day, and it's not in your way.
Hmm.
And then as soon as it gets wet, like if you like fall in, and that gets submerged, something happens, like it has a reaction and everything blows up. And
Oh,
if it
that's cool.
doesn't, there's still a jerk cord where you can pull it and it makes it go off.
That's
And so
nice.
like those ones are cool.
That is really cool.
They're like, I think the cheapest one we were at Bass Pro today, we saw those, and I think the cheapest one we saw was like 50, $60. But I mean that's
Okay.
worth it. Like even summertime, like if you're on a boat and you're just going across the water and it's what like you got a bulky life jacket, it's like just in the way sometimes. And when you got that one that's really more like discreet, you can still like be mobile enough to like work around things. And if you're going across choppy water and you got this big old bulky life jacket, you can't move as clean. And
Right.
then, God forbid you tip over or whatever, you go in, okay, you still have a life jacket. You
Hmm.
still have flotation. But I really liked them for ice fishing.
Yeah, I'll have to get one of those.
Worth it.
Just yeah, just to have it.
Worth it. Yeah, so no fish were caught, huh? And you're probably not going to go back unless you know the ice is a-okay.
Yeah, I honestly, it probably won't be good for the rest of the winter, so we won't be
Yeah.
going back. We'll
Not very
go.
many cold fronts coming in.
We have a cold front these next 2 days, but it's not worth
Not
it still.
convincing enough.
Not convincing. Like, I'd rather drive 20 minutes longer and go to Evergreen, where I know Evergreen's 20 inches,
Right, for
and we
sure.
can and we'll catch a bunch of fish at Evergreen. They're just stock trout, but it's still fun.
Yeah. What was the target species at Chatfield for you guys?
There was bass, walleye, trout. And one of my buddies messaged me on Instagram. He saw the story and was like, he goes, "Oh, did you get on the eyes?" And I was like, "What does that mean?" And he goes, "Walleye." I was like, "Oh, duh." I was like, "No."
That's what I was hoping you guys would at least catch one, just to be like, oh, I caught my first walleye. But I
Yeah,
figured you would have said something if you had, but
yeah. I think we'll go back in the summertime and shore fish, and
you should.
maybe we'll catch something.
You should. I told my dad that you guys went there. I think somebody saw it on your story. And they're like, "Oh, Brooks was there." I don't know. Somebody in my family follows you, I think, and they're like, "Was he?" I think it was my mom because she's an avid listener, and she goes, "Oh, well, Brooks was there," and I was like, "Oh yeah, that's right." I don't know if he went there because we talked about it or what, but so we didn't know if you were going for walleye or if you're just going for anything that would bite a hook.
Pretty much anything that would bite a hook. We had mealworms and yeah, we just had mealworms. So
Gotcha. Nice. Right on.
yep.
When are you guys planning on going fishing again? If you're planning on going fishing again.
Good question. My dad's coming in town this weekend, so probably not this weekend, but maybe in the next 2 weekends after.
Gotcha.
I'd like to go back to Turquoise for sure. I like that lake a lot. Because I mean, we got very fortunate that was our that we caught 29 fish our first time ever going there. So we just kind of picked the right spot and it all worked out. But apparently, like one of the guides who he guides a lot of the lakes up in the mountains. He was saying he one weekend he caught like 50 rainbows in like a span of 8 hours. Yeah, and he caught I think like 20 Lakers.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, I mean that guy's a guide. He kind of knows what he's
Knows
doing.
what he's doing. Yeah.
But yeah, because I think we'd like to go to Granby maybe. I don't think we're gonna go back to Tarryall. So I think Tarryall is just gonna be a summer spot.
Yeah.
Even though that ice is real thick. It's like 24 inches, about 2 feet thick. Yeah, it's real thick. We haven't tried Georgetown yet. I've heard good things about Georgetown, but also it's right off the I-70 corridor, so it could get real busy.
Yeah.
We'll
I
probably go to
gotcha.
we'll probably hit Evergreen, but I mean we
Yeah.
only have like maybe a month left. So
Yeah. If that hope, I
yeah.
mean, sometimes you hope for it, sometimes you don't. It just if the fishing's hot, you're like, man, I hope it stays cold long. And then when it's
Mhm.
not, it's like, I wish that shit would melt ASAP.
Oh dude. I mean I like it to be frozen a little bit just because I want to go out a couple more times, but I'm ready for spring.
Right.
I'm ready.
Always. Yeah, that's how my wife and I were talking today. It was like, there's just so much more you can do when the weather is nice. Like, okay, Captain Obvious, but it's like you can go fish, but it's like you don't want to go fish when it's cold out. Like here, it's not ice fishing. You know, you're still fishing from the shore regardless. But it's like
Still hands are freezing.
we want to get paddle boards, so it's like, well, you're not gonna paddleboard fish
Mhm.
right now. You will in like a month and a half, 2 months when it warms up. But it's just like that going on hikes. It's just like everything's more pleasant when the weather's warmer, and it's just like we wish it was 70 instead of 17.
Right.
Let's get
100%.
back let's get back to those good higher double digits and have some actual fun outside. Some of it's not bad, but like golfing and fishing and hiking. Let's get back to that.
I agree.
Make the outdoors fun again.
But what's the temperature in Nashville right now?
It was like 30s, low 40s today.
That's it.
Yeah, cold. I mean, we got a cold front coming in. Our lows, overnight lows, are going to be single digits the next couple nights. Not tonight, but tomorrow night through like Thursday night, I think it's supposed to be like single digits because we got a big cold front coming in. We're potentially going to get like 3 to 5 inches, 2 to 5 inches of snow
Oh dang.
overnight Tuesday into Wednesday. Potentially, you never know, but yeah,
You guys get snow like a couple times a winter, don't you?
maybe twice. This year would be the first year that we get two actual storms. Last year we got one storm of like 9 inches, and that was it, and maybe like a dusting. And this year we had the one storm of like 6 inches, 5, 6 inches, something like that, and then another dusting. But this one's supposed to be 2 to 5.
Do people freak out?
The whole city shuts down.
I figured as much.
Last year it shut down because it snowed and then it would melt just a little bit, but then freeze heavy. So
Uh,
the roads iced over bad, and they did zero prep. They had no equipment for it. They went out and spent like millions of dollars on road like snow equipment because they're like, we cannot have this again. Like, because literally the city shut down. Like grocery stores closed, gas stations closed, like regular stores, restaurants, all that stuff just done for like a couple of the days, and then finally it was like, we have to have this open. Like we need people like brave enough to go open their stores.
Right.
And it was just like, please, please open your stuff. And for us, it's like, okay, yeah, I get it. Like ice roads are not easy or fun, and especially here, the rolling hills and stuff like that. But it's like you guys are freaking out over nothing. They just don't know how to drive in it, and it
No,
just there were literally cars abandoned on the side of like a flat road, like a slight uphill incline, just abandoned because like people couldn't get over a little hump to get to the next flat part, or there's a little curve or something like that, and people would like slam on the brakes, slide, and then they would just be like, "I'm not driving," and they'd get out or like call somebody and be like, "Take me home," and they
yeah,
they would, and then like literally 5 days later they had to go back and get their cars. It was like there were literally cars not lined up, but just like you go down the road, it's like that one's abandoned. That one's abandoned. 5 minutes later, hey, there's another one. It's like, oh my gosh, people.
dude,
Bad.
it's nuts. When I was down in Dallas, Dallas Fort Worth area back in 2021 when they had their old snowstorm,
Hmm.
it was hilarious. Like I had my truck at the time, and I was like, I was fine. I had 4-wheel drive going. I was just cruising. Everyone
Yeah.
else was freaking out, man.
Yep.
It was hilarious. I'm like, guys, come on. Now I know they don't usually get those type of storms, so
Yeah.
I get it. But still, it's like, I mean, you should at least, in my opinion, people should go live in a northern, like, or at least a state that gets snow for a little bit during the wintertime, just so they know how to drive
Right.
in the snow.
Go get a little snow training. Nashville definitely upped their game. As soon as everything melted, they went and bought stuff last year. They're like, we need it to like not be like this ever again. So they did it, and they salted the roads and all that good stuff and prepped it, whatever.
It took them to 2024 to figure that out.
They had never had it that bad, apparently. Like when I mean they had nothing, like they had nothing. Like I think they had a few like pickup trucks that had some plows on them for like, parking lots and stuff like that. They had no big plows, they had no salt, they had no spray, they didn't have anything. And they were like, we're screwed. And we were for a week and a half, and then finally they were like, all right, we need all this stuff. And this year they've got like full fleets of plows and all the stuff that you would imagine.
Thank goodness.
So good on them. They finally did it right, but it was like it took you guys. I think everything was shut down. Like I said, almost 10 days, and it was just like nobody was doing anything for like 10 days. Crazy.
That's nuts.
Yep. Yes, sir. But yeah. Speaking of this weekend, family was in town. One of the events we went and kept ourselves busy with. We definitely stayed busy. Saturday was a busy day. We went to the NWTF, National Wild Turkey Federation. We went to the sports show. Yeah. So their expo part of it. So they have, breakout sessions where they do competitions, and they have meetings about how to improve, like conservation meetings about improving and maintaining turkey habitat and stuff like that. And, kind of like the baseball conference, ABCA, where, yeah, they've got the expo part of it where you can buy and sell and trade, like the trade show. But then there's also like breakout sessions where you're learning about certain aspects of the game and how to teach it or whatever, new skills and strategies. So they had all of that stuff. It was just like the baseball one, but make it turkey. And I think they might have had some duck stuff too or whatever, but the main idea is turkey. And so, anyways, we had went last year and it was big. And it was even bigger this year, but we spent like probably 4 or 5 hours walking around there. And we just walked the whole time. Stopped at a few and talked and learned about a couple different items or whatever, but it was just like 4 to 5 hours of just straight walking aisles back and forth all the way through the thing
Where was it at?
at the Gaylord
Gaylord.
Opryland. Yeah. So I think we're one of the biggest convention centers in the country.
Well, for sure.
And
Because
so
I went to APCA 2 years ago at the Gaylord
yeah,
in Nashville. It's massive.
it is massive. Like when you go to the Gaylord Opryland, it is like its own little town. I wouldn't call it a city.
Yeah,
It's like its own little town. It's got restaurants, shops. You can book a weekend in Nashville and never leave Gaylord Opryland, and you will have like a full Nashville experience,
yeah, it's
like a
nuts.
whole out of town experience, and you just stay on property there. Really cool. really cool. But yeah, so my parents had never been there since I technically work for Gaylord. I don't know if that's ever been mentioned before, but I technically work for him
I mean,
with
I thought you
the
just worked
our
for a golf course.
yeah, our golf course is through the Gaylord, so all of that's tied together.
Did you
Part
get
of
free
our
parking?
so the parking for employees, they had to move it, so they had to open up the employee lot to visitors, which would be the people for the expo. They had to close or make the employee lot visitors lot, and employee lot was like across the highway, and they had to shuttle in on a shuttle. So it was like, well, we're not parking in employee lot because that's farther away, and they're not going to let my mom, dad, sister, wife
Hmm.
ride the employee shuttle with me. Yeah, it's almost getting too big for Opryland. So that's how big it is. That's how many people are there. Traffic is crazy. It's just nuts. But
I want to go
couple,
next year.
yeah, come on out. We'll have you. It's fun.
That'd be fun.
But couple, I guess highlights. I mean, you name it, turkey calls everywhere. Like people
Hmm.
are calling, and they have lots of duck calls. So pretty much any call you can think of for duck and turkey is just going off.
Yep. I'm sure the
Like,
employees were like, "I'm ready for this weekend to be done."
yeah, well, I guess so. The people that stay there at the hotel, they like will be on like the hotel side of it, not facing out. And you know, those balconies face the whole like the restaurants and the island and stuff like that in there. And they will like open their doors and they'll do crow calls and owl calls and turkey calls all back at each other, back and forth all night, apparently. Like
So
that's
that's gotta suck if you're just there for the weekend, not
yeah,
even
like if
doing
you
that.
don't know that's what is happening while you're staying at Gaylord, you're like, what the hell is going on? Because people will literally like you go and buy a turkey call and it's a mouth read, and like people will just be walking by and they'll go "Burp," like right behind you and like like intentionally just to like what is that noise?
I love it.
Oh my gosh. So you get your fill of turkey calls and duck calls and all that stuff. But a couple cool ones. I had seen them last year, but you know, you have your mouth read, you have a box call. It's like it sounds, it's a box, and then there's a little piece of wood on it, and you like slide it across the box, and it makes a turkey call, and you can do a couple other things to make different types of calls with it, types of turkey calls. And then there's the slate call where it's like a round slate and you got like a stick and you like scratch it and it makes a turkey sound. But there's this one, it looks like a flute, and I wish I would have the last 2 years, and I was like really interested in it, but I don't know what it, it looks like a flute type thing.
Hmm.
And or like a think of like a pipe, like a smoking pipe.
Hmm.
And so it like literally I was watching a guy do it and he like barely had it in his mouth and he's just like blowing on it and it's like that is like a perfect turkey call and it looks effortless. It's like
Hmm.
because I'm always trying to think, okay, I do pretty much all my hunting with a bow. I do have a shotgun I could turkey hunt with, but like I want to hunt a turkey with a bow and like, I want to hunt all my stuff with a bow if I can. And it's like how can I do it hands free if I've got both hands on the bow? Like how can I still make a call? That has the potential it could work for me aside from a mouth read. I'm not bad with a mouth read, but if I'm better with that, then I'd want to learn it. But it's like,
Right.
I wish I would have asked questions about it. Anyways, those were cool. And then I had stopped at like two booths. One was, I want to say it was like Bluebird Waterfowl or something like that. So those Mojo decoys for ducks, it was a duck hunting booth. Those Mojo decoys for duck hunting, spinning wing decoys. This guy created this attachment that you attach it to the duck or like into where you would put the wing and then you attach the wing to this part and this thing has like it still rotates with the mechanism but it has this pole attached to it and then that pole has like a little ball type thing at the end or like a disc and that sets in the water and you have it just set right on top of the water and it like claps against the water and it's supposed to imitate the sound of wings hitting the water and it also like shakes the water so it adds water movement to your spread and so it's like multi-facet multi-purpose and
Interesting.
so it was really cool and could have been really useful, or is really useful, it sounds like.
Hmm.
And I don't know, it was one of those, he tells you it's a deal of a lifetime, and you're like, you're only taking like $40 off of it. And it was like, for everything that you would get, everything that's in this offer is like 200 some dollars. It's like, okay, you only took like $60 off it. It sounds like if it were a deal of a lifetime, you'd take like 80 to 100, but
Yeah,
it's a small business. And so like, small business is small business. And I'm like, okay, I get it. Like you're still trying to make your money, and you could tell they were still a smaller company.
for sure.
They're gonna be big, I feel like, but
Yeah,
it was like, oh, that's not the deal of a lifetime. I can pass this up and come back and get it online later. I'll probably spend just as much for less, but it wasn't to die for. Gotta have it. But that one was cool.
that's cool.
And then the other one I stopped at was uh Iron Will broadheads. So I use
Iron Will
theirs.
was there.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, so they just recently, within the last month, came out with a new small game broadhead, and they were there advertising it for turkey. So I asked the guys like, have you hunted with it for turkey? Like he's like, yeah, there's been like testing. I can't remember if he said he did it or not. He said he shot a raccoon with it like a couple days ago or something. And he said it is gnarly. Like it doesn't let things live after you hit it. Like, and it's for small game, it's not for deer and stuff.
Right.
But it was like $119 for a 3-pack plus a travel case. Normally they're like 140 or something like that. So it was like 20 to $30 off. It was like, I love Iron Will, and those sound great, and I really like. I would want that for turkey hunting, but I don't need it because I still have like my broadheads will still work on turkey. It's not like
Right.
that I need that particular type of broadhead. So I don't know. Do you know what a small game broadhead looks like? I'm gonna explain it either way.
No, I have not done that
Yeah.
research.
So theirs is a little bit different, but a typical like small game broadhead, it's basically like four prongs, like even space, make like a square almost. And they face, instead of like the blades going back, these ones face like forward. So think about like it makes like a square on your at the end of your arrow, 4 or 6, however number of points they have, but they're not really like blades, they're just pointy like sticks, but it's just supposed to widen your impact area. So like if you hit a squirrel, it doesn't like you don't have to rely on hitting just so perfectly. It's a little bit
Right.
wider area that it can hit. They
Okay.
make turkey heads that are just like giant, like 3-inch long broadheads,
Hmm.
and those are good for like when trying to take the head off. But these ones, so these are like a normal 2-blade broadhead, like just like a normal iron will broadhead, two
Hmm.
blade. But then instead of the back blades being normal facing backwards,
Hmm.
these are kind of just like blunt object and facing towards the point of the broadhead. So I don't know if I'm explaining that well enough to visualize it without having it here to like show, but
Hmm.
it kind of does the same thing as the sharp broadhead, but with a small game head at the same time. It does it makes it so you can do more as opposed to like a small game head. You're really only going to use it on like squirrels and rabbits and like really really small game.
Hmm.
These heads that they're selling, it sounds like you can do bigger stuff, like you said, raccoon, possum, you know, turkey, obviously, because that's what he was selling it for.
Yeah.
But that was another one where it was like, man, I would really like it, but I just don't need it. And so passed that one up, but couple cool things that it was like, well, eventually those might be things that I add to the repertoire. Not this go around. Yeah. There were plenty of turkey calls on sale. There was like I could stop at any one of these and, you know, restock on my mouth calls or whatever. It's like, man, it's not really worth it. So I walked away empty-handed, which is fine. But I was telling my wife, I was like, man, why I just don't know if I have expensive taste or if it's just because my hobbies are expensive or what. But The only things I was interested in were the most expensive things here, aside from guns. Like stupid.
I
Man,
feel
I
that.
mean they did have like custom turkey calls, like made out of wood, hand carved, yada yada, that were like $300 or whatever, but it was like, these things that are like just stock items, of course, they're not like custom or anything crazy like that. They're the most expensive things. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
why don't I want something that's just $15? And it's like, oh yeah, just grab it. Instead, I have to be interested in things that are 150, and I have to like convince myself
Yep, I am
and
100%
my wife. I have to
with you
convince
there.
my wife and myself.
Yep, it sucks.
Then at the very end, it was like, okay, I've got these two things that I'm really interested in. I'm gonna pick one so that I don't have to try to justify and like beg you to let me get both. I'll, I'll already compromise and say I'll stick with just one. And I was like, but then at the end of the day, do I really need either of them? No. So it was like, okay, I just talked myself out of it. We can go now. She's like, are you sure you can get one? I was like, I sound like a kid at the candy store that's like, Mom,
Yep.
can I please have a lollipop?
I just want one. Now we're adults. We're like, can't afford it right now. Damn it.
Yeah. It's like, do I want the $120 lollipop? No. I guess I don't. I would
Maybe next
love it.
paycheck.
Yeah, I would love it, but I don't need it, so I won't get it.
Yep.
Darn it.
Dang it.
We'll put that towards our paddleboard fund.
There you go.
There we go.
Old
That
paddleboard,
saved us.
maybe boat fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
Yeah, National Wild Turkey Federation, super fun time. Like over 500 exhibitors,
Wow.
and yeah, year like that's the same as last year. I'm sure next year will be. I don't know how they can fit more people because they max it out, and it's corner to corner booths, and yeah, I don't know how they fit more people without trying to make that convention space even bigger. So I don't know. I guess we'll see. It's over 500 now. Maybe they tell a few people to downsize so that they can fit some more exhibits in, but it's one of those. I think you got to hop on, because I was telling Brooks before we started recording, I'm looking at possibly having booths at some expos next year. And that's one that I would be interested in, especially being local. But I think that's one you like have to hop on it right away and
Hmm.
reserve your space, because they probably go pretty fast. Because everybody knows, like, you got, I don't know how many people come through. I'm sure they come out with their numbers by like sometime this week and be like, oh yeah, we had this many guests or whatever,
Right.
but more than tens of thousands of people walking through, and they all pretty much walk through every single booth, or at least buy every single booth. So it's like, man, something like that would be definitely nice, because there's people that do archery. There were some deer things too that people were trying to sell or promote, mostly just hunts, like a deer hunt mixed with a turkey hunt mixed with whatever
Yeah.
on some high fence or what have you. So, but pretty much turkey focused. But yeah, it's a fun time.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. I need to start researching turkey and everything since we got spring turkey coming up. So.
Yeah, it's time to start practicing the calls for me at least. Get back to practicing calls on my drives home and to and from work.
Hmm.
Perfect time to do it,
Hell
so you
yeah.
don't bug the shit out of the wife. She wants to kill me every time I do any sort of call at home. I'll throw in a turkey call. She's like, "No, stop it." I'm like, "Okay."
My
When it's
dog's
time
a
to get
freak.
when it's time to get the duck calls out before duck season, make sure they're all quack 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 quack. Samson goes nuts. He's like, "What the heck is that? What the heck is that?"
Where
And
are we
Morgan's
going?
like,
Are we
"It's
going?
duck season." And it's like, talk about kids at a candy store. They're like, whoa, bouncing off the walls. And she's like, I hate that noise. Why did you get that? Why did you just do that? It's like, oh, sorry.
Sorry. Now the dogs are going crazy.
Yep. All right, Brooks, we've waited long enough.
Hmm.
The people have been sitting on the edge of their seats, chomping at the
Edge,
bit.
edge of their seats.
They just cannot take it anymore. We have to
Nope.
tell them about, why are you wearing that hat?
I'm wearing that hat because
The Bear Creek archery hat.
the Bear Creek Archery hat because I finally got my Hoyt VTM 34 primed and ready to go. It's back.
Finally back.
It's finally
We are
back.
back. We are back.
It's gorgeous. I finally got to use my sight that I bought 2 months ago that I haven't even used yet.
That's
Um,
awesome.
yep, I'm pretty pumped. I'm excited. We got, as of right now, so far on the bow, we got the obviously the React Trio slider sight from Trophy Ridge.
Hmm.
We have the Hamsky Rest.
It's good
I think
rest.
it's I can't remember which one is it. I bought it a month ago when I was there. I can't
Yeah.
remember which one it is.
It's a drop away style rest.
Drop away style. Yep. Hamsky's local here in Colorado. And then I got the two-piece quiver system.
Did you buy that or did it come with it?
I had to buy it separately. That was
Gotcha.
$200.
Yep.
Sucks, but it is what it is. Let's see. Right now, I just have the little stubby um,
Stabilizer.
stabilizer right now. I will definitely have to get a sidebar and probably a little bit longer stabilizer because the last 2 days, granted, I shot a lot the last 2 days because I was like so excited and I finally was able to get this all dialed in and everything. So
Hmm.
yesterday I probably spent 2 hours at the range trying to get this dialed. So I got my sight tape on. We're good now, which is awesome.
Nice. That's good.
Yep. And then today I went to the range and shot the 3D course. And I could just tell, like, me holding it, it's just the level, it would just start off sideways. And I would
It's
have
not
to just,
stable.
it's not stable. So I had to like force it. So, which is fine. Like, I wasn't sure if I was going to, I kind of figured I was going to need at least a sidebar because of the quiver. But I wasn't sure at the time if I was going to even need anything. So I just said, let's just shoot it, just get ready to go, and then go from there. But yeah, I'm not sure lengthwise on the front and the rear what I need. I'll have to go to Bear Creek and get that figured out.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
yeah,
Nice.
it's
Very
yep.
nice. I mean, take your time, I guess, but I mean, you know what you were comfortable with on your old bow, so you kind of have a little bit of an idea on stabilizers, but I wouldn't like rush into being like, oh, I need to have this, that, and the other thing, and because it's a new bow to you, so it's gonna feel different than the last one. It's gonna take some getting used to, but if you're still, I would say even like after a week of shooting it, and you're still kind of seeing the same things that you're seeing of stability and can't get the bubble right very quickly. Like it takes a while to get the bubble level. At that point, I'll be like, yeah, maybe it is time for sure. Like
Mhm.
I like having a longer stabilizer, so I'll advocate for it regardless.
Right.
You know, especially like you shoot it a handful of times, and it's like that bubble's just not getting level fast enough for me. Because
Mhm.
at the end of the day, the amount of time to get level really matters.
It
Because
does.
if you're not level and you're not ready to go on an animal in a split second situation, like you could miss out on an animal because your arrow doesn't fly true because you weren't level, or if you take your time to get level and you aren't going to let go until you're for sure ready to go, and by that time it gets level, the animal's out of a shooting spot and you lose out. Those things definitely matter.
Oh, for sure. Yep. And then the guys at Bear Creek, they're awesome. Really helped me out there. And they suggested that I will go from a 300 spine arrow to a 250 spine since I'm
Hmm.
going. Mine is set at 71 pounds right now. So I'll tell you guys the story real quick. Anyway, I hear actually, sorry. I got a 250 spine arrow. I know it's not full fletch, but I at least needed some to get started. It's a
Yep.
Black Eagle Rampage.
Yep. Those are good ones.
Yep. So $15 each. It worked great. So I could definitely tell it flew more true with these arrows compared to my 300s.
Yeah. Yep. A little bit better. I think the uh, spine, like straightness or range on that is more tight than those other ones. The other ones you have, I believe, are like 0.003, 0.005,
I
somewhere
think
in
so.
there. One of those two. They definitely weren't 0.001s. Um, definitely not as straight. They were kind of almost meant to be like a test arrow, but then they ended up like working okay. Yeah, no, 250 is definitely where you need to be, especially if you're trying to go even heavier than where you are. But
For sure. And the guy said, here, I'll just start the
yeah,
story real quick.
yeah, go.
So essentially what happened is back in December, I bought the bow off eBay. It was a good deal. I got it for $800. It's just a bare bow. And I believe the previous owner, it said it was like brand new, but I think it was like a shop bow. And it was just kind of one of their testing bows that they had. And so I was able to get it for $800. I thought it was a pretty good deal, especially for only a 2-year-old Hoyt. And so I got it. And so this one's on user error from me. I got super excited, and I realized that I had on the cam system, I had the number one mod on it, which I needed the number two mods. But I got excited and wanted to pull the bow back and everything, and then, well, the day I got it, I pulled it back, and it was set at like 27 inches, I think. I'm a 30 and a half, and I overextended the bow, and it got stuck in full draw position. And so I threw the bow down and was like, please, please. I was like, this is like my worst nightmare right now. And I just got this bow because my dumbass was too excited. I wanted to draw back. I thought I was being careful enough, and apparently I wasn't. And yeah, it's scary for sure. And so I quickly like grabbed the bow, put it in my bag, and then it fired. Essentially, just the string and everything just ripped. And I mean, I was gonna get new strings and cables anyway, but I was like, I didn't want to do it that way. So
Right.
that's user error on me for doing that. So I took it to Bear Creek, and they looked at it and they're like, well, there actually looks pretty good. Well, and they're order new strings and new cables. I got Rogue custom ones.
Hmm.
Um, and they said they'll let me know in like 2 weeks. And so they called me beginning of January, said, "Hey, your bow's ready to go." I was like, "Cool." So I go to pick it up, and I was like, "Yeah, so like there's nothing on the limbs or the cams or anything." And they're like, "No, it looks pretty good. Like you got really lucky." I was like, "Okay, that's good. That made me feel a lot better." Well, so they were getting it all tuned and ready to go for what I wanted, and one of the workers, and this was a complete accident on their end. Nothing was on purpose. They put it on the draw weight scale and pull it down. Whole bow explodes, and I'm like, no, that did not just happen. And so what they think what happened is either they just didn't put one of the cable loops or the string loops in there enough, or maybe when they put the number two mods on, it wasn't in incorrectly, and that's why it exploded. Either way, they took care of me. They paid for the repairs. They had to send it back to Hoyt, and Hoyt pretty much told them at first, they're like, well, where did he get the bow? And they said, oh, that he bought it off eBay. They're like, well, he should have known better. I was like, yeah, well, you're not
Yeah.
wrong there.
Look.
They're like, hey, if it's just like a lemon on our end, we'll take care of it. And the lady was like, she goes, no matter what, we'll take care of you. I was like, that's fine. I was like, as long as I know, like, it's gonna get taken care of. Like,
Yeah.
I get the first part when I brought it in was user error on me, but they did say it was all good to go when I came back for it. So it was on them, and at the end of the day, and there's probably a little bit on me still. Either way, they took care of me. Really super helpful guys over there. Those guys are awesome. Definitely a lot better experience there than the other previous bow shop I went to here in town. I won't say, but so yeah. Then on Friday night, Valentine's night, I get a call, and they're like, "Hey, Brooks, your bow's back." After a month, because I called last Monday, and I just, "Hey, have you guys heard anything?" And they're like, "Nah, I haven't heard anything from Hoyt, but they are fixing it." I was like, "Okay, good." And they're like, "We're sorry." I was like, "No, it's okay. I was just wondering." And the guy's like, "Yeah, I'd be wondering too."
Yeah.
And yeah, then Friday called me and they're like, "All right, it's ready to go." And I was, best Valentine's Day ever.
Yeah, I'm engaged. First Valentine's engaged. I get my
Yep.
bow back. Let's
That
go.
is awesome. Oh yeah, the next day I ran up and grabbed it, and it started coming down snowing wise, and like it got real bad real quick. And the guy's like okay, like we just need to put in your peep and everything, and you should be good to go. And so put in the peep and everything, and they got it all lined up, and they're like, all right, do you want to like sight in your sight right now? And I like looked at the weather, and I was like, yeah, I'll come back another day, guys. I appreciate it though. I just wanted to get home because I wasn't sure
Yeah,
how bad the snow was going to get. It was getting bad.
right.
Like it took me an hour. Usually it takes me 40 minutes to get there. It took me about an hour and a half to get home. That's how
Yikes.
bad
Just going slow.
it just got bad like that quick. And but yeah, we had anyways. So yeah, that is the story of said bow.
There
So,
he is. He
but it's
is. He or
it's
she.
good to go. She
See, of
I
course.
probably the last 2 days I've probably shot it. I probably put at least 200 plus arrows in it the last 2 days. So
Nice.
pretty good.
Yeah.
The sighting in this bow sight, the React Trio, is actually pretty simple.
Hmm.
But I kept going back. I had to make so many micro adjustments to it, which is the cool part about it is there is the micro adjustments, the windage, and then the side or the up and down, I guess first, second, and third axes, which is super nice, and they make it super easy. So yeah, I was able to get it, and it was crazy because like I've never took a 50-yard shot in confidence before, and I went to the 50-yard bag, and I was like, well, here we go, and you right down the middle. I was like, yes, finally. So I know the sight doesn't make the shooter, but it definitely felt really good.
Oh yeah, for sure.
um, so yeah, that's the story of the bow.
Very nice. Well, I'm excited for you. I know there's going to be at least one or two listeners that are excited for you to get back out there. So, yeah, now we got to get you on into some tournaments or some leagues or something, get you going again.
Yes, we got to do it.
Yeah, so I totally forgot about it. And Tanner and I did a few of them last year, and I think we talked about it at some other episode. But those tournaments that are here, we just had one this past weekend when NWTF was in town. Well, it was
Mm,
just yesterday, Sunday. And so they do them on Sundays like once a month. And so it was just yesterday. Obviously, I wasn't going to do it because family was in town, but it was an awful day for weather. I wasn't probably wouldn't do it either way. Once a week or once a month, they have them. Come the March shoot, hopefully it's a day where I'm, well, even if I do have work, I think I went after work a couple different times last year, but they go all the way until like let the last shooter out at like 1 p.m. or something like that. You know, on a random, well, on whatever Sundays they have it once a month. I'll try to get Tanner out there, and then another buddy that I met, his name is Mason. Mason went out and he shot it, and he was the only one in his division, so he won his division because he competed or whatever. Yeah, so we're gonna at least go, if not compete, we'll at least go and do. You can just shoot for fun. Their 3D
nice.
course, and they're supposed to have it set up. Well, I guess they did last year, set up different every time, but I think two of the times we went, it was like bad weather and rain or whatever, and so they basically like two sides of this area that they own
Mm,
that they can set up the course on one side or the other, or both or whatever. And I think every time we've been, it's all been on like the one side because it gets hit less by rain or like impacted less by rain. So
mm,
hopefully the weather stays better the next few shoots. I don't know, we can see the property more and have a little more variety because they're all just pretty like plain Jane straight shots. I mean, they're obviously all straight shots, but not very much ups or downs, or it's not
yeah.
supposed to be a tack style shoot. It's like I told you, I think the last episode we recorded together, it's designed to be a warm up for ASA shoots. So they're ASA style where they have the ranges and what have you that you shoot from and yada yada. Yeah, they're I mean it's fun. Like I said, they're once a month, so something to look forward to once a month. I think they're 20 bucks for fun and 25 if you want to compete.
That's not bad.
yeah, well, Tanner and I went, like I said, a handful of times last year. I think Bryant would probably be interested in doing it, and Mason, like I said, he did it, though, obviously yesterday. So it'd be fun to have a group of four to go and shoot together.
It'd be a
Because
lot
when
of fun.
Tanner and I did it together, it's fun to do it with two people, but I don't know. It's kind of like golf where if you have a foursome, a group of four, all shoot at the target and not necessarily gamble with each other, but just to have some fun and a little
Yeah.
bit more competition. Because I think Tanner's beat me once or twice, but it's just like it's just the one guy. Like I want to. Sometimes he beats up on me, sometimes I beat up on him, and it just kind of gets boring. Let's mix
Mhm.
it up. Let's beat up on Bryant one time.
Maybe I come out there and you guys can beat up on me, or I beat up on you. Either one.
Yeah, yeah. And now with your new fancy schmancy site, you can whoop all our asses.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, so maybe we send you the schedule for that, and since it looks like we've missed out on the tack boat, we can maybe some other time find
Yeah.
a way for you to slip in on a. It's only on Sundays though, so it makes it kind of tough.
That's kind of tough.
There is an ASA qualifier one of the months. I forget which month that is, but I don't know. Maybe I send you the schedule, and if you're like dying to get out here to shoot your bow in Nashville, we can get it to work out.
Well, we need to definitely do something where we all get
Yeah,
together.
yeah. If not next year, we'll be better about planning it next year.
Well, freaking Saturday sold out like that. I was like, because Tanner was like today was when we got to sign up for TAC, and Saturday's already sold out. I was like, crap, man.
Yeah.
like,
Whoops.
like I get we could do Friday, Sunday, but I guess it would just
Friday
be
wouldn't really work for me. I mean, it would kind of work. I would have to get off work early, or
right.
I guess I could ask off work, but come that time of year, they don't want us taking many days off, especially Fridays. So the whole thing just kind of would be blah.
Ugh,
Not worth it.
yeah, sucks.
Darn it. Darn it. We missed the boat. We screwed up. Own it.
Yeah,
Ownership. We screwed up. We did not. We should have set our clocks for midnight on the night before so that we could book it right away, but oh well. We live and we learn.
yep. I
Next
wonder.
year we'll have something for sure.
I wonder if I'm looking right now. I wonder if for maybe some reason
Somebody canceled.
maybe people canceled.
Hey,
Let
could
me
have.
look real quick.
I mean, what
I
could
don't think
happen is
they haven't announced Colorado yet,
interesting.
which is odd.
Has it been in the same place the last few years? Or have they mixed it
Yeah,
up?
it's been at Sunlight for a
Hmm.
while, and it says
Yeah.
Colorado coming soon. So maybe they going somewhere else, and they're trying to figure that part out.
It should, well, maybe. I don't know. Because I know they took a year off of Tennessee because it was just I don't know, they couldn't renew the agreement to do it. They had done it 2023. They didn't do it 2024. They went somewhere in Georgia instead. And then they
Mm,
found a new place in Tennessee for 2025. And so it could be something like that where they just couldn't come to an agreement. I mean, you got to think there's a lot that goes into it on like booking hotels and
for sure.
availability, other events, if there's other events in the area, which I know it's the mountains, summer and spring. Snow has melted, so it's not like it's snow bunnies, but
Right.
yeah, you never know. I mean, and the actual site that hosts it, maybe there's some sort of disagreement on price or availability on how many people you're allowed to have, and who knows?
Well, I know there was a lot of frustration last year with the camping setup because
Yeah,
apparently you used to be able just to drive your camper up and everything and just park wherever in
yeah.
the parking lot and just
I
camp
remember
for the.
Jason did that one year.
Yep, Jason did that, and they're able to do that. And this year was like, no, you had to reserve, and you could only do it like 2 weeks prior.
Well,
And so maybe there could be someone with that because I mean, it's on Sunrise. It's on like the actual ski mountain at Sunrise. So it's
yeah,
like I don't know. Maybe they just it says coming soon. So I'm assuming there's got to be a Colorado one because I mean
yeah.
it would they
There
would be
there will be
there will be. It's just who knows where. But
wild. That's a very successful thing. It's just it's one of those things where it's getting so big that people like I feel like when it started, and this has only been like maybe 5-ish years that it's been really popular. When it first was like really popular on the scene, it was like, all right. people that are local to that area get to go and do it, and that's great. And you just get a bunch of local people all congregate for a weekend. But now it's like people will basically fly across the country to go to like 3 TAC events a year.
Right.
And it's like,
It's crazy.
what the heck? And so each event just gets blown up that much more because people come from all over the place. And it's like, I mean, we were about to be guilty of it too, having you come out to the Tennessee one and said
Right. Yeah.
whatever, but that's just the way it is now, or that's not unheard of, and that's just how it gets blown up. It's more people than it can handle. Like I was saying, NWTF has almost outgrown itself in Nashville because the parking lot situation was absurd. There were people parking on, normal parking lot. It's a giant parking lot. There's plenty of parking spaces, but apparently not because people were parking on top of grass little islands in the middle of the parking lot. And we had gotten that night before 3 inches of rain. We had gotten 3 inches of rain 2 days before that. So like we got dumped on by rain. And so all these grass islands are just soaked to the bone. And people driving up on it and rutted the hell out of all the grass on all these islands
Ugh,
in the parking lot. So, but
that's tough.
there's just too many people for even Gaylord, which it's the biggest convention center. It can handle the people, but it just can't handle the parking. But there's
Like,
nowhere else like there's nowhere bigger. You're not going to find somewhere bigger.
you think that if they can handle the people, they should be able to handle the parking. Like, if they're going to be that
Yeah.
big, they should be able
Yep.
to handle parking.
Yeah, they need to come up with some sort of reservation system, I think, of with a shuttle system, because that's the way Sportsman's Expo downtown used to be, where you park at Coors Field and you shuttle.
Right.
I don't know if they still do that.
I don't know. Last year when I did it with Caribou Gear, my buddy who runs it, I mean, I just rode with him and we parked them
Right.
wherever they can park.
Yeah.
So
Vendor parking's probably
under
different, but
parking, yeah.
yeah, as a visitor guest, whatever, you used to be able for the Sportsman's Expo in Denver, you could go and park at Coors Field and then you hop on a shuttle and they take you over there. The problem with that here is there's really not a big venue with mega parking like that around here, close
Right.
to it. So yeah, I don't know. I think they need to build a giant parking garage or two or five,
Something. Yeah.
because the mall gets crazy all the time because it's a tourist hub, and
Hmm.
the Gaylord obviously gets busy often with conventions and expos and things like that. So at least one really big parking garage would do it some justice. It's just a matter of I don't know how the heck you do those the best that you can without screwing everything else up. But
Right.
anyways, yeah, all that to say, TAC, I think a lot of their woes are coming from parking and hotels and camping and things like that. So they're having struggles finding venues, I think, based on those issues.
Yeah, I would agree. That's why I'm gonna stick with, I guess, Western Hunt Fest this year.
I guess maybe I do. I don't know. We're still trying to save money for us. If I find a super cheap flight to Denver, maybe I can hook hoof a ride with you or hitchhike with you up to one.
Even if you came to one that either the one in the Springs or at Bailey, that's not too far. You can even probably do that too.
Yeah, I would need one of those Southwest gotta get away or whatever $59 flights with two bags because I obviously have to check my bow.
Right.
That'd be the only way if I get a $59 flight on a random Friday night, get in there late, and we go up Saturday and
Hmm.
fly back Sunday morning or something stupid.
I just was looking up Mountain Archery Fest, and there's a long letter. You ever heard of Mountain Archery Fest?
No.
It's like TAC or Western Hunt Fest. It looks like, let's see, thanks to the people of us around it. Therefore, we've accomplished some amazing. All of us are loved every second of the incredible journey. However, it breaks our heart to inform you all that Mountain Archery Fest will be closing the doors. Many factors led our team to this extremely difficult decision. Unfortunately, not all obstacles can be overcome. Damn. So Mountain Archery Fest is no more. Okay. Because I was gonna say maybe we could go out to one of those. But it looks like the Derek Wolf Invitational is still a go. The event will be in Loveland, Colorado. either July 18th and 19th or August 8th and 9th. Anyone that competed in the Mountain Madness competition and placed in top 3 in a 2020 event are still invited.
Invite only
So
type deal.
it's an invite only type of
Got
thing.
to qualify.
So whatever, if you finished top 3 last year, damn, dude. Well, that sucks. That was your live reaction to the guys at Mount Archery Fest. They have officially closed, so that sucks. Well, that's one less option we can do.
We'll find something for us, Brooks. Maybe, like I said, maybe I look and get I don't know, Google's automatically send you flight info on or like flights that are extra cheap or whatever.
Yep.
But
Yeah,
it's got to
I'll
be
send you the
Southwest because bags are fly free.
flags. That's the best part about it. As long as they're under 50 pounds.
Yep. My boat would make it.
Well, is there anything else we want to talk about?
No, I think that we're a little over an hour of recording time, so by the time we edit it down, it'll be a pretty good length episode for the listeners. So,
Yeah, I'd say
any
so.
closing thoughts for you, Brooksy?
Well, I'm excited to get the bow back, get shooting again. Felt really good this weekend, for sure, to get out there and finally shoot again. Oh, I don't know. Just I'm excited for the 2025 season.
Yeah, you might be inspiring me to go shoot my bow some more.
Go shoot your bow.
I forget which podcast it is, but that's what they say every episode to end it. Go shoot your bow. But anyways, appreciate you guys listening, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.
See you guys. Thanks for listening.